minute or so and we'll transition. Okay. Okay. I trust you all can hear me. And if it's a place where you can stop playing for a few minutes, we're going to reflect on the experience by just taking 1 minute. If you're comfortable closing your eyes for 60 seconds, just look back on the experience and take a couple of deep breaths and let them out slowly. I'll keep time for 1 minute. Okay. So you had a few minutes of listening to me and a few minutes of listening to yourself and playing. Now, would you take a minute and journal about your experience? Whatever it was that you experienced, be as open as you can, reflect and journal, either by writing about your experience or writing and drawing about your experience as freely as you can. What happened during those few minutes of self active play? the importance of play and how it relates to healthy human development. Oh, which reminds me of another book, but we'll share that a little later. Don't want to interrupt where we are right now. Where are we? We're coming out of a few moments of play by ourselves, and in there was some thoughts and feelings that arose spontaneously as you were moving those objects or making those notes about what happened. And there's content and relevance to each of us in our own lives, just as with children. And I think that's what is being said in play, listening to oneself more carefully and discovering the relationship of whatever happens in that few moments that you had. So how about if we try and take a minute, and for those of you that have devices that have a camera on them, can you articulate your device so that you can tip it and show what you did with the materials? And we'll just take a few minutes and scan, just sort of tip your camera, kind of do like that. And, let's take a look at what you did, or hold it up if you, Wonderful.
Lots of blocks out there.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, 2G, good. Wonderful. Good, 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 good. Thank you for being here present today. Thank you for taking time to play and to journal about your experience. Now I'm going to make an attempt to put you in breakout rooms so that you'll actually have a chance to talk about that. So you bear with me for just a moment while I set up a break room experience. Let's see, we have 13 people. So if we were to say 3 people in each room, let's see, that would be roughly 3 or 4 rooms, right? Let's say 4 rooms. And then create the break rooms and open all the rooms. And you should be able to go into those rooms and visit with your colleagues. Are you there?
It's working. Everyone's going to the breakout rooms.
Wonderful.
Were they pre-selected for them?
No.
You did it.
Can they hear us, Carly?
No, they can't.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. How are we doing so far?
Good. I think the timing, you shaved off a few minutes of the play, and so we are pretty caught up. So yeah, we're doing good.
Good.
What was the
I tried to get us a little more time.
Oh yeah, no, it was still great.
Did you see someone got deleted 2G?
Yeah.
She's back in though, isn't she?
Yes, yeah. So I sent her a message and apologized. I don't know how she got kicked out of
It's possible. I did it because I thought it said admit and I clicked her to let her in, but then she disappeared.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how long she was out, but
Persisted nevertheless. So
I'm also very sorry to say I didn't record all of it. I didn't start it at the beginning, Carly. Sorry
oh,
about that.
that's okay.
I'm going to start it the day before next time. Yeah.
Just 24 hours to edit out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pop in the slide. I did get some pictures of the
Oh, good.
Let me do a blank slide.
Now, when they come out of the breakout rooms, we go to large group sharing.
Yes.
Okay. And we'll shave a little time there so you have time following that.
Oh, yeah. And I can just, share super briefly. So
Yeah.
no worries about that at all.
Help me remember to ask them to take photos of their journals and to send them to us. Or how would we do that? How did we do it last time?
Yes. Well, they will have the opportunity to provide some feedback on the survey, but we asked them, yes, to take a picture of their journal and take a picture of what they created.
And to email it to us, right?
Yeah, to email it to us, or they can attach it in the survey as well. Remember, there's that attachment option. So either one. Emailing it would be great. I have your email on the last slide as well.
Good. Now, when I push the button, close all rooms, it gives them a minute warning, right?
Yes. Oh, I forgot to start my timer.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Breakout rooms, 8:31. It's 8:37.
We probably.
Let's give them a little more time because we can make up for it in the large group sharing.
Yeah.
I think for them to have time to talk about it. I didn't give them the instructions on how to talk about it either. I'm going to have to write everything down very specifically.
And it's so hard when you're in the moment trying to manage all the technology aspect and the.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just different. But I think it's been beautiful and amazing so far. So
good.
And then I snapped some pictures of what people made. So that will be nice to share.
How many rooms were there? 1, 2, 3.
Paula's comment in the chat box, by the way?
No.
She wrote a really beautiful response already in the chat.
Oh, that is lovely. It's nice to see that she can share that like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there were some nice comments there. I have to figure out how to respond to everybody on the chat. It's just, I'll have to figure that out. So should I close the chat room, do you think, or want to give them another minute?
Maybe let's see where we're at with time. I think let's give them till 8:40 and then close it, and they'll pop back in at 8:41.
Okay.
And I think we'll still be able to, because we can also shave a little time off Q&A maybe.
Yeah.
I won't take a full 4 minutes. I'll just share. I'll change my sharing to be super briefly. So.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So maybe, okay, go ahead and close the chat rooms and then it'll give them a 1 minute.
Okay. All breakout rooms will close in 56 seconds.
Yep. And when everyone's back, I'll pop up the screenshot of what people created.
Good, good. Will they just all appear and then I can say something to them? Or you can? And
you'll notice when there's 16 participants back or 15 participants back in the main room.
Okay.
You'll see people starting to pop back in.
Yeah, sorry, it just gave us the option to rejoin the
oh, of course, no worries.
Oh, we need the concert anyway. Concert from Terry.
I've got
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
I have to go.
Oh, concert first.
Very quickly, but this is something really going on here, but I'll do a quick one.
Whatever yours now.
Okay, we've got an important call that came in.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Terry and Phil for being
Bye,
here.
Terry.
This is on your work there. Fantastic, good. Carl, I think Carly's posting pictures of what you did. Oh, wonderful. Get a view of that. Okay, good. Let's see, good. All right, so I think at this point, what we'd like to do is open it up for anybody who might like to make a comment or share. Thank you for taking the time to go to those rooms. How was that experience in the
Great.
breakout rooms? Yeah,
It was
Yep.
really nice.
good.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, I would do that again in a heartbeat. I got to meet Terry and Robin and hear what they're up to in terms of the world of play and see their things a little bit closer and let them talk about it. It was great. I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it. Thank you.
yeah.
That was nice. Yeah.
Anybody else have a comment or a question they'd like to ask? We've got some time to talk now. Say about 8 to 9 minutes.
So,
Walter?
what would you say you would do if you don't really know what to do
Yeah,
and you feel like you're a little bit creatively inhibited?
yeah. Logan, are you referring to this experience?
Yes, a little bit. I kind of felt like I'm doing something, but I don't really know what I'm doing or why.
Hmm.
And I'm not really sure what to do with it or where to
Hmm.
go.
I think that's a pretty common feeling for some of us. There's two ways. One, you begin something and you know what you're doing, or you begin something and you don't know what you'd be doing. And it's in the doing, even though you don't know, the continuing, to persevere to find out, that allows you to understand what it's all about. And that's part of what I think the play helps us understand. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these materials. I'm not sure how this whole Zoom thing is going to happen. This is the first or second time that we've done it, but we're going to give it a try. And I think it's that spirit of allowing the play to take it over and show us what it's all about, just like your comment helps us to do. That's helpful, perhaps, or maybe other people have some thoughts with regards to that or other comments.
Drew, I can say something. This is Paula.
Hey, Paula.
So I wanted to add that, like you said, I never know what I'm going to do. The materials are just there. And then it wasn't until I began encountering materials that I realized that the materials just start coming together. So I want to read something really quick that I had written during our reflection. Is that okay?
Yes, of
Because
course.
it really, it talks about how I didn't know, what was going to happen. But so creating something beautiful to my eyes made me happy. The materials were talking to me as if they were telling me, show me off, make me look beautiful. These resources were definitely in harmony with each other. It shines joy when you look at them. I wish I had more time. The music is so lovely. It gives the resources an importance as if they were being displayed at an art gallery. My heart beats with joy, joy that I wish to reflect back into the world for them to feel. And that was the feel that I got from being able to just encounter the materials. And I began like placing one here and then the other one, and then I would rearrange it. And when I thought it was perfect, that's the way that they stayed. That's the best way that I can explain it. And each session has been different. Today, this is, that was my reflection of it, which I love because I had never encounter this type of experience from home, it's always at the NACCE conferences or when I get to see Dr. Drew at a workshop. But this is definitely different, and I wish like more people knew about this because it brought me a lot of joy today, and it brings me different things that, you know, it could be something, it could be in a different state of mind at other times. Maybe I want to go to vacation and I start dreaming about making a vacation scenery, and that's what comes up during play at that time. So thank you.
And Logan, I think one of the most beautiful things about these play experiences is that it doesn't necessarily have to be the creation of something beautiful. Sometimes just the process of manipulating the material is where you find the magic. I personally was using beeswax. I did end up making something out of the beeswax, but in my reflection, I wrote about just, you know, how the frustrations of how you have to warm it with your hands before you can even manipulate it, and the smells and aromas that come out of using that material. So sometimes, like the whole time, even when we were talking, I was just kind of rolling this beeswax in my hand, not necessarily creating, but just the textures and the feeling that it brings is something to take note of.
That's very interesting. I never would have thought of using beeswax.
It's a really fun manipulation. It's like clay. It's moldable, but you can continue to create, but you just have to warm it up with your body heat, which is interesting to see transfer as well.
Wow.
So Logan, I related to what you said about, you know, how do you start? How do you begin? Because I started with too much stuff. And I covered my table with things, hardly leaving myself enough space to even build. And I realized that I shared in the breakout room, this is kind of a theme of my life, this too much stuff. And so I kind of got focused on that word. Walter said, use the word longing when he was speaking in his opening remarks. And so I was thinking, oh, what is that? You know, let me just focus on that longing, and that longing for a simpler, more simplicity in my life. I started playing with the nature materials I had set out, and I built myself a little beach house.
Wow. Very cool.
Give myself that simpler life.
You were
Nice.
about vacation, as Paula said.
Allowing us to have, like children, allowing us to have in play and in fantasy what we may not be able to have in our real life.
Mm-hmm. But
Walter,
yeah, I can definitely relate to like having some materials you don't even know where to begin.
Walter, is this the first time you've done this?
This is the second time,
Yeah.
Lynn, and it's a very difficult learning experience for me. It takes a whole different way of functioning, really. And I'm learning that there's a lot more to learn. However, because of you being present,
Yeah.
you know, I'm encouraged to do more, to learn
Yeah,
more.
that's why I'm asking, because I have this dilemma. I teach this, I was talking in the breakout room. I have this play class, and I have all of your Dr. Drew blocks. I have unit blocks. I have all materials, and I have 9 students on, I have 9 students on Zoom, and then 10 students face to face. We're not allowed to share materials, you see? And it's a play class. I mean, so I think that this is a wonderful way for teacher educators who are working in child development and teaching play, trying to teach play, or even professional development, because we're not allowed to touch without cleaning, all right? So I think it's important. I think, well, you know, I'm going to invite you to come to my play class, okay? You and Charlie, all right?
And also, Lynn.
Okay, all right?
Yes. But
Okay.
also, I would like to challenge you and anyone else who is working with college students, let's say, let's do a presentation at TASP about what happens between now and the TASP conference. Because if you try this, then you're going to learn more about it and how it happens. So the thought is, Heather, you too, anybody, we're in a sense involved in research together to understand the value of this in a virtual setting.
Right.
Okay.
Well, okay. Yeah. So I'm going to, I'll set up after this. I'll contact you. I don't have Carly's, contact information.
Yeah,
but-
we have it on a slide, Lynn.
All right, that's good. And I don't know your time slot and everything. So we
We'll
would
figure
work
it out.
that out.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you're not involved in anything on a regular basis.
No, that's
9:30 in the morning. I'm talking about.
That person who was just speaking, for those of you that may not know, is Lynn Cohen, and she's a senior full professor at a university in New York. Thank you for being present, Lynn, and everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tuji, I'm very sorry that you were spurned there for a little while. I'm so glad you got back in. Yeah, you're muted now, incidentally. Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you. It's okay. I finally got back.
This young person, Tucci, is a professor from Penn State University, a young graduate from the graduate program at Penn State University. So good to have you here, Tucci.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Other comments before we go on? I think Carly's got some things we're going to share.
I think it is very valuable to have an experience like this over Zoom, because otherwise I don't know if I would have been able to have participated. And, it seems like we have people from all over participating in this one thing, and we're all interacting together. And previously I didn't know most of the people here. So I think it's really valuable that I could have this experience since it was facilitated online.
Thank you, Logan. Two things. One, please realize that this is a virtual way of doing hands-on learning. The first thing. The second thing is the process itself has extreme value, as some of you may have experienced in your own play. So those are two really neat things to consider. How to make virtual, real, interactive, physical, and the value of this particular process in achieving that goal. Okay, let's shift a little bit. And I think, Carly, you have a few things to share. I wonder, would this be a good time for that?
Sure, this works great.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, oh, sorry, go ahead, Walter.
I was just going to say we can have more questions and answers afterwards. Yes.
Definitely. Well, yeah, thank you, Walter. I am incredibly grateful to have met you all and to be able to share this experience with you. I just super briefly wanted to share kind of some of my thoughts and how the play experiences really impacted me. I was first introduced to Walter's work about 5 years ago, where Krista Murphy took our team of play coaches through the play experience. And then I've had the privilege of learning from Walter for the past 3 years. And I will never forget that first play experience, that feeling of that self-active education and really understanding constructivism. I had read about it and believed in it, but that time and space to actually experience the joy of play myself as an adult was incredibly transformative. And as you all have shared, as we kind of entered this state of quarantine, I was incredibly sad about the idea of not being able to conduct and participate in play experiences in person, and wondered what the virtual experience would feel like. And I'm just incredibly encouraged by the comments and the spirit of unity that we can have despite being physically separated. Logan, like you shared, we had this beautiful experience together. And so I do hope that your encouraged by this virtual experience. As Walter shared, by no means, it doesn't encompass all of the elements of that beautiful in-person play experience, but I hope that you're encouraged to experiment a little bit with what this might look like virtually. And we've talked about maybe at our next play experience, if we host number 3, if people are interested, after the experience, kind of doing a behind the scenes look where I'll share all of the technology aspects and kind of how we ran the experience. And I did just want to thank Walter for his incredible wisdom and commitment to this work. And the fact that he is learning this new platform and this new medium at his youthful age is just so inspiring, and I think really a testament to his commitment to this work of play. And as we kind of live through this collective traumatic experience of COVID-19, I really can't think of any better state of being and remedy to that experience than this opportunity to tap into the enlightenment and that beautiful pause from the chaos that sometimes surrounds us by engaging in this play. So I hope the experience encouraged you and leaves you with a sense of joy and peace. I know it certainly has for me. So I'm excited to hopefully play again with you all soon.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Carly. Beautiful. Thank you, one and all. Kitty this morning made a comment that I wrote down. It's very simple. It's necessary to imagine positive.
Yes.
To imagine positive. And I was thinking about you going on and trying these things yourself. You know, you can do it. I mean, as it said, if I can do it, you surely can do it. So let's see if there may be some other questions or comments that anybody would like to make before we close. We still have a couple of minutes. I was glad to hear Carly refer to self-active education. As some of you may know, that phrase was first used, to my knowledge, in 1826 in Friedrich Froebel's book, The Education of Man. He said, basically, for the children, it's imperative that they be fully self-active, the whole child involved in learning, or adults for that matter. Thus, we apply the same principles we use with children in our work with adults. He also said the child is divine, that within every child there's a sacred seed that grows beautifully through play. So we have seeds continuing to grow within all of us, and play is a way for it to further flourish. Well, let's see where we are. Are we approaching the end of the time? Oh, good. Thank you, Carly. Carly's posting a couple of notices. One, for those of you that may not know, I was with Dr. Marcia Nell. She's a colleague and friend, a retired professor now from Millersville University. And NACCE was kind enough to publish that book, From Play to Practice, Connecting Teachers' Play to Children's Learning. And it has a lot of the details on how to do this in physical space. What we're working on now is how to apply the principles of self-active play in the virtual space. The other book, as some of you will recognize, Professor Tom Hendricks. He's an absolutely brilliant, wonderful human being. And he wrote this book, Play in the Human Condition. He also is very fond of, some of you may know Brian Sutton Smith, and he's quoted profusely in this book. It's a deeper book, but it's fantastic. I would also like to acknowledge Wiley Rankin, for his thoughtful, beautiful flute music that he provided for us. And you see his information up there if you'd like to contact Wiley for any of his songs. He's known as Jump for Joy. The music he does, much of it is for children. He lives in California. And I think there's this slide. We would really like to have, if possible, if you could take a picture of your journal, whatever you wrote, if you could photograph that along with a picture, if you still have it, what you made, and send it to us, please, as part of our research. We're dedicated trying to find a way of sharing what you said and what you've journaled. So we encourage you to please do that. We'd love to hear from you and to read what you have to say following your play, whatever it was. And you see if you could contact either Carly or myself at those email addresses.
I also included all this information in the chat box as well, so you can copy it from there too. Either way.
You're wonderful. Thank you, Carly. Really. And then the other thing is, Carly's prepared a survey, which gives you a little more latitude as to what to say and how to respond to this, which she will post in a few minutes. And we'd ask that you could also fill that little survey out as part of our research. Oh, there it is right there. I missed it. It's already there. The play experience feedback. Thank you, Carly.
Of course.
I think with that, it's 12:03. Well, it's 12:03 on this end, and on different parts of the world, it's a little different than that. You know what time it is where you are. We're going to stay a little longer if anybody would like to hang around and talk. But officially, this Zoom is going to close. And again, thank you so much for taking time on your Saturday to be present. It's a privilege to have a chance to share together like this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Walter.
You betcha, Linda.
Thank you, Carly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this experience. It was really, really nice.
We'll
so
stay in touch
pleasant.
somehow with everybody. Yeah.
This was wonderful, Walter.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I hope everything went okay with you and Phil, Terry, and what you were dealing with. Thank you for coming back.
It did. It wasn't definitive yet, but we just wanted to see what was going on.
Good. Hey, Krista. Nice to see you here. Krista is also with the task board, the Association for the Study of Play.
Yeah, this is so exciting for me. I do teach in education at my college campus, but one of my main concerns is that we have an early childhood program, but we do not have a play course. So I was just thinking of how beneficial it might be to try and fit this experience into just some of the classes that I do have.
Wonderful.
I'm teaching a family and community partnerships class, and I was thinking, would it fit there? I also teach a management of early childhood environments class. It might fit in there. So I was already thinking of, you know, the way you just really peacefully facilitated us in this experience, and how in my program, the students, I can tell, are just always really stressed because it is a dual certification. So they're working on their pre-K to 3 licensure / special education licensure. And that's part of the reason there was just no room for an actual play course, like a whole start to finish play course in any of their coursework. So time is always limited and they're always pressured. They have like, some of them have 18 credit hours a semester, and I can see how they would just love a moment of pause
Yeah.
And the way this experience had us slow down and be very mindful and peaceful. So I was really excited about that. And I was also thinking of maybe just as a an opportunity for our faculty, you know, for my colleagues to do this experience. It might be really nice.
Yeah.
So I was really excited when you mentioned whoever decides to do this, if we wanted to get together and share some of our thoughts to present at TASP, I would love to do that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Krista.
It was a great experience. Thank you for this.
Yeah. When you were describing about trying this and trying that, my mind was thinking about how we played with the materials. You know, you try this over here and you move it over there. And the parallel between the physical play with the objects and our outer life and what we're doing seem to be connected. Thank you for raising those concerns. And we'd love to be in touch with you on that. Yeah. Wouldn't we, Carly?
Yes, definitely.
Logan and Heather and Robin. Maybe you'd like to mention about the Play Coach Collaborative.
Oh, yes, sure. I'd love to. Walter and I have been co-dreaming about an opportunity to have play coaches from all across the country and all across the world gather together in a community of practice just to share strategies with each other and learn from one another. So we are going to be meeting with some of our colleagues and friends to kind of go through what our intentions and objectives are. And then we'll be looking to, in the late fall, offer a virtual community of practice for play coaches to collaborate and connect. And certainly this was one of the things that we had talked about. What does play look like in the virtual realm? And so, yeah, I love learning from others and connecting with others. So I'm really excited about that. And Walter and I talked about kind of viewing this experience, trying it virtually, because it was very foreign for both of us, as sort of that playful approach where we're in a state of experimentation. And I'm not a huge fan of technology with young children, so it has been almost a beautiful time to realize there can be connectedness found in technology. And so, yeah, I think I was also encouraged, Krista, by hearing kind of your different ideas of how to do this and when to do it. It's super inspiring. So,
thank you, Carly. Yeah.
I also would like to do the Zoom experiences with my colleagues in Turkey. I'm originally from Turkey, and my all colleagues just always asking me, okay, what are you doing over there? What are you playing? And what did you learn? They always asking me, and we try to talk about these things that I experienced here in US. And right now I'm thinking that I would like to do the Zoom play experiences with two sides. One of them, the colleagues, the teachers and educators in universities, and also the other side of the parents. So many parents of mine, my friends, and they are always asking me that, okay, you are the play educator. What are we doing at home with the kids? All 5 months, I try to, not the coaching, but I try to guide them how they can play with their kids at their home, because they were all frustrated, and then they told me that they didn't know about the play. They know about playing. I'm sure they knew that, but they forget. So I try to remind them how they can do this. And right now I'm thinking about that play experiences with parents and their children at home. And I just, some ideas just as a book in my mind right now, there's some games in Turkish games maybe we can do in Zoom. I try to plan something right now after our experiences with the materials. Thank you so much. This is so helpful, and this is a great experience for me.
Thank you, Tusi. We're all grateful you're present. And those are wonderful applications. May the force be with you.
So I teach a play course online as part of our online master's program at Champlain College. And I had never thought to include this as this kind of virtual experience. And I'm so excited. I'm going to do it. It's going to be great.
Bravo, Robin.
Add a new dimension to the whole course and bringing a synchronous component to what is usually an asynchronous experience for students.
I can't wait to hear about that. Both of those, yeah, applications. Super exciting.
Robin is a professor in Vermont at Champlain College, and she's also deeply involved with the Play Policy and Practice Interest Forum of NACCE, and a dear friend. Glad you could be here, Robin.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
Robin, I still refer to that play quiz that you made, that you shared at NACCE all the time when I need a reminder of, why are we doing this work? Robin, for those of you who don't know, Robin created this amazing kind of play quiz for her students to give them an intro into the necessity for play. And it just has incredible statistics and research attached to it. So I'll definitely be asking you to share at the Global Play Coach Collaborative, Robin.
I will do. Thank you, Carly.
Is it possible to share that quiz with us?
You know what? I'll send it along. I'll send it along to Carly and with my journal things, and she can distribute freely.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now it's going to be world famous.
Yeah. Well, the floor is open if anybody wants to add any. Phil? Okay.
There we go.
Robin,
I muted myself. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that, Robin, I'm glad for Zoom because I'm able to see you here. It has been a long time. Last time was at NACCE also, so it's good to see you here.
Thank you. It's nice to see you too, Paula.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wonderful to see all of you. I'm an art teacher in a public school teaching entirely nearly 800 children virtually. So I have 36 classes a week. And so it's how to do it virtually is something we're working our way through. And it's taken me at least 3 weeks to just find a rhythm to that. But some of the techniques that I'm learning about this particular medium, about Zoom, and how to spotlight children and how to, have them present their work and, take screen capture shots and such, may be very helpful for those who are teaching virtually. So we've been in the trenches doing it, trying to get a group of 24 children to be creative in their own way, in their own rooms, virtually, is a challenge. So I'd be happy to share my experiences with those and the other art teachers here in the Atlanta Public Schools, how it's working out. So we have learned some best practices and some things not to do, okay? Yes.
That'd be great, Phil. Yeah. Phil also and Terry participated in, over the years, a number of play retreats that we've had. I'm recalling fondly here in Melbourne Beach. We spend almost a week together exploring play and playing in the ocean, playing with the sand and painting, and those were great times. And it continues in some way virtually. I'd love to do, I was sharing with Carly, wouldn't it be fun to do a play with paints virtual experience where we come together like this and we extend the play period, maybe for a whole half hour or a whole hour, where you have gathered paints and markers and other things that you could use. And then we just leave each other for a little bit, and then we come back together that same day and sort of look at and talk about what happened during that period. And
Walter.
yes.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you. Phil.
One of the things Phil did last year when it went virtual with no warning, basically, and children didn't have supplies, is he had them find dirt and coffee and spices, whatever, to add into that mix. And then also, I'm moved to mention our early days, even before the retreats with Walter. Walter has been a mentor for many years, and Phil and I spent our honeymoon over 20 years ago setting up a resource center in Gainesville, Georgia. So with Walter helping, and Phyllis Winter was working with us then. So we go back too.
Yeah. Yeah, those are extraordinary times. You know, the mention of resource or recycle centers, for those of you who might not be aware, the need that teachers have for materials can be found as cast-offs from our businesses. They throw such treasures away. And if you approach, as some of you may have already, approached those businesses, for the most part, it opens up a dialogue where they had no idea, for the most part, that the kinds of stuff they're dumping, throwing away, are the very kinds of things that the children of the people who work in those companies would love to have. And that's what Terry and Phil worked on. And there's a network of those around the country, and I know some of you draw upon those resources. Like Phil mentioned, Sue Blanford in St. Louis has Premier, one of the finest programs I've ever seen. And she's one of the early members who also came to the retreats. Yeah. I also wanted to mention that Heather Ha, I don't know as it was clear, she's also a facilitator with the National Association for the Education of Young Children. There's a group called the Play Policy and Practice Interest Forum. And Heather is one of the stars, along with Robin and Jim Johnson, a professor that Tucci graduated under. Heather, yeah. And she's just opening a new school in Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Heather?
I am. Unfortunately, we were supposed to open this summer, and due to COVID delays, we are now set to open the end of March. But we are going to start welcoming families one at a time to come visit the facility. We're getting it, as we like to call it, show ready. To welcome families. We just finished our large indoor gross motor space to represent the Columbia community. So if you're interested in following us along, it's the St. John Newman School for Children and Families. It's in Columbia, Pennsylvania, and the space is really coming together. It's really beautiful, and it's going to be filled with all loose parts and authentic materials. So it's been a treasure to get started. And Walter, we do have a resource center here, but I also do my own digging at some local businesses. And one of my newfound favorite large loose parts is contacting ice cream shops and getting the foam layers that protect the waffle cones when they're shipped.
Oh, I'd like to see what those look like. Speaking of following along, Heather, Paula Lopez has a school called Kinderoo. I don't know if you're aware of that. And she does a lot of posting on Facebook. And it's absolutely fabulous for those of you who would like to share, either in college classrooms with your students or other teachers, some really exquisite curriculum, use of materials, thoughtful reflection by the teachers. You can check with Paula and the Kinderoo School in Ocala, Florida. Premier, it's Reggio inspired, and it's wonderful.
Paula, I was very jealous of your sand provocation.
Well, Dr. Drew opened the world of materials many years ago. And to us, the resources are just so abundant now because we just, like Heather was saying, it's like we find new materials all the time. My children at home, they think that they're like, Mom, why do you have to be a teacher? We're like, they can't throw anything away without my authorization. Like, no,
understood.
Yeah.
Occupational hazard.
And I'm so excited for materials now because I always know that there's so many possibilities. And I actually have colleagues that mail me. They mail it. We get boxes at the school with what people would consider junk, but I get so excited to open up these boxes because we know that they're going to be used for something. So thank you, Dr. Drew.
Absolutely.
I would just like to say one thing. I try to do some other things with Walter and Kitty, and they often involve promotion of these. Mine's a design. I have a communications firm, graphic design studio. So we're working on some things, and I hope you'll all agree that if there's something you've said on these Zoom sessions, that we can use that to promote the power of play and the other things that Walter and Kitty are doing to try to grow the understanding and the breadth of people who actually play. So if anyone has any objections to us using a line or two from one of you, please let Carly and Walter know. And if you don't, then we don't hear from you. We'll assume that if you've said something brilliant, we can use it.
I think we're all advocates for play. So I don't think anybody in this group would be opposed to that.
Yeah.
Actually, the more you use, the better.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. And thank you also, Linda. Linda and I, if you will, and Kitty go back a ways to 1991 when Kitty and I came down from Boston. We had been coming down for a number of years over the summers when we were working in Boston. And in 91, we established what's called the Reusable Resource Adventure Center here in Brevard. And Linda was just a perky little quicker, just coming right back. What's this all about? And come on, tell me about it. And she's just stuck with it the whole time. She's a wonderful advocate.
Thank you.
And thank you. And Bill Ronet, her partner, is a brilliant videographer. And last year at the I think it was the 46th International TASP Conference here in Melbourne, he videotaped, let's see, who was it? He videotaped Peter Gray giving an hour-long talk about play, and he videotaped Tom Hendricks. And those tapes are available. Should you ever want to hear what both Tom Hendricks and Peter Gray said live at TASP 2 years ago in Melbourne, please let me know, and I'll send you the link to those videos. Thank you for that. And thank Tom. Please thank your partner up there. Will you? Yeah.
I will.
Yeah. Video is such a powerful tool we're uncovering, and and we encourage you guys to continue to use video. Here's Zoom. I started this. I recorded this, but I didn't get the first part of it. I need to do better at that. I missed the first couple of minutes of this recording. So.
No, Dr. Drew, I want to share something that I'm not sure if anybody here would be interested in, but I was invited to a group, and we're studying a book, and weekly we come together on Wednesday nights to talk about this group, and to talk about this book. And I went inside, it's a video conference also, like this, like a Zoom call, but I'm amazed because I've made new friendships, and also we go in depth into different topics that are not related to the book, but like things that are happening like inside our schools. And so we're there for advice. So I don't know if that's something. What I found is like I would come to these meetings like 1 week I would, 1 week I would, but now it's become where it's like I want to come to these meetings on Wednesdays because now we all have a connection. And I think like the more we come together, the more support that we have. And I would think that having a play group would be a wonderful space for all of us. If anybody wants to facilitate it. that would be a really good idea.
Yeah.
Maybe we can study your book, Dr. Drew.
Oh, well, what a wonderful idea, Paula. Or some other book. I mean, Tom Hendricks' book is another one. There was a thought I had in there. I had two thoughts, Paula. Thank you for mentioning that. I wanted to ask Logan. Logan, I appreciate what you shared a little earlier. And I just wondered if you would you share a little bit about what you're doing and where you are?
Yes, I'm currently a student in early childhood education at Auburn University. And this semester is the first semester of my program courses for teaching education. And so I was actually recommended to participate in this seminar as a part of one of my classes. And we kind of had a sort of play loose part seminar of our own just on Thursday. And so I thought it was really interesting what we did in class and thought it would be useful to participate in this as well. And it's been a really nice experience.
Good. Well, thank you for being here and representing Auburn University, Logan. Yeah.
Thank you.
There was another thought that came in there. I can't quite remember what it is. It may occur in a moment or two. Anybody else have anything they'd like to just put out there? Okay, well.
I think one of the things I'd like to say is that a measure of the success of this is none of us are leaving. None of us are leaving. That is, I mean, that is really a telling factor. Eventually we'll have to go.
I was just about to say, unfortunately,
it's
I
early
do
here,
have to go.
so I've got all day.
I do have homework to get to eventually, which is very sad. I wish I could just stay here and listen to everyone's thoughts.
Well, I thought from this that I would love to set up a play session with my family, a virtual one with my family now. First I thought just my grandkids, and I thought, heck no, the adults need to do it. So I'm going to try and promote that in my little family circle and see if I can't do that.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it sounds like fun, doesn't it? I think it'd be so good for all of them. They'd probably just do it because I begged them to do it, and then they would discover that it was well worth their effort to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put pressure on anybody, but you know, Carly, the thought occurs to me that if anybody present in this moment wanted to experiment with an idea like Linda, you just suggested, we could take time at, let's say, a play experience number 3 and hear what happens in next month, if you will. Not to say you have to do it because things come up, but if anybody like Lynn Cohen was talking about, or Krista was talking about, or Tuzi was talking about trying something, if you'd like, we could dedicate some time as part of a spontaneous play group next time. If that has any interest, or if somebody thinks they might like some time to do that, I think that could be very interesting. You know?
And if between now and then you need any tech advice, I know, Phil, I'm sure we have a lot to learn from your experience of doing this with children. But yeah, I'm happy to help in any way with kind of some of the tech aspects if there's anything you need to facilitate it.
Yeah.
We had a beautiful coincidence happen just now. We got a text from my son in Oregon saying, would you guys be presenting with our grandson once a week for creative endeavors?
Wow.
Right in the midst of this, we get this text.
And what's wonderful about it is that he's pretty ADHD and has learning disabilities. And we really believe that by sharing this play experience with him, we can certainly help with his focus and his attention span and some of those issues. We know that he's a very creative young fellow who's everywhere, you know, but just bringing it back to the play experience. So I'd love to use our work with our grandson Asher as kind of a research project itself, you know, to see how it is with a child with special needs.
Very good.
Fantastic.
A lot of the Zooms that I've seen when I'm coaching teachers from the spring and this fall, when preschool teachers here in California, we still don't have our state preschools meeting in person. They're meeting on Zoom. And so often I'm seeing the teachers go to that muscle memory or knee-jerk reaction of very teacher directed. And there's just not a lot of time in the experience that they're on the Zoom calls with the kids for children to just be and play and create. And so I'll be super interested to hear how it goes with Asher, just as an inspiration for teachers to not feel like I have to use this 30 minutes to entertain the children, and to really be able to reframe that experience to be more playful. So, yeah.
Yes.
Please consider this a standing invitation that we could extend this. It doesn't have to be just an hour, it could be longer, but it could be an hour. But the invitation is, if any of you would like to experiment a little bit, you know, to research new possibilities, and take 5 minutes on our next call. Just let us know. It's like a mini presentation of what happens because of the provocations that you felt from being present today. That's a way Tom Hendricks has a way of thinking about what happens in our experiences is both ascending and descending. And the ascending influence of play has a way of continuing in the future, where descending experience has a way we sort of forget it, and it's not influencing us any longer. And personally speaking, you all who were present last time and who are present this time, having a profound ascending influence on my own consciousness about what's possible in the future. And I'm very excited about what I'm hearing today and integrating it and expanding upon it to help my own understanding of how play is really, I'm going to show you a quote by one of my teachers, Kate Ransohoff. Let me just get this off the wall. Kate was one of my teachers when I was living in Boston. She's an art teacher. And during the retreat, some of you may remember Kate Ransohoff came, but this is a page of a book that she sort of dedicated to us. And Kate says in her book, play is one of the unseen, unsung marvels of the universe, a ceaseless creator where rules are governed by the many and varied laws of harmony. You know, you can contemplate that and imagine how being together today in your own play experience has such a profound influence on us. And that's what happens to our children who are feeling slightly disorderly or traumatized or anxious. The play has this absolute marvelous way of freeing us from debilitating thoughts and encouraging us to dwell in the spirit, if you will, of play. And then, as we did a little bit today, and in this case, that's Kate. This is it's a poster, a little poster I have. Isn't that lovely? It's faded over years. This was probably back about, a while ago. Yeah. Okay, well. So tentatively, we're thinking about having another one sometime in the future, and we'll put our heads together, and as an invitation to return, of course, and bring something with it as a shared experience. I think we'll always have an actual play experience. I remembered what it was that I wanted to say. It has to do with the quality of materials. The materials themselves, the nature, the quality of the materials, the abundance of them has a profound influence on the outcomes within us. So quality play materials require our thoughtful attention. I mention this because should you return the next time, you might choose a different material, one that may, between now and then, offer greater ascending meaning to you as a result of the play. An example of that was when Terry Cox shared in our last Zoom, where she and Phil were in the mountains, I think in North Carolina, and she collected these marvelous pieces and played with them. The connection between the pieces of materials and their very nature and how they influence us is profoundly important. Yeah, I was thinking about that also, Logan, when you mentioned being at Auburn and having an experience with loose parts or open-ended materials. It reminded me of a friend, colleague I have, and also a member of the task board, and that's Sean Durham. He's a wonderful professor at Auburn University. But we talk about materials also. And
he's currently one of my professors.
He is. Oh, he's
yes.
Great. Yeah, he's dynamite man. Yeah. I wouldn't want to miss the opportunity to tell you about these blocks, Dr. Drew's blocks, but I'm not going to do that. Oh, good.
We'll do it for you.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right.
May I say something concerning next time?
Yes.
I sometimes host Zoom calls and they cut me off after 40 minutes and force me to upgrade, which I realize costs extra money. You have to pay for that. And I don't know if you were having to shoulder that. And if you are, whether we could all contribute in some way to help support any costs you're taking on.
Wow. That's an extremely beautiful thought, Terry, coming from you. Thank you. There is a little
richer too because of being longer. I'm enjoying this so much.
Yeah, me too. You know, I don't know what the cost. I think it's about a little. It's not free, but it's not a terribly big expense. And what I'm pleased with is it allows us to have all the time we want.
Yeah.
We are limited up to 100 people, but we don't have that problem. We have, you know, we have just the right number of people. I thank you for the thought. I don't know quite how to respond to that. Yeah.
Okay, just it's a thought because we all appreciate this.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think if you just send me a check for $300 or $400, that would cover it. Yeah.
Throw in some Dr. Drew's box.
Yeah, buy some blocks. Okay. Yeah. Wow. This is our Saturday. I'm looking forward to the time after this where I'm off and away from you and with each other and just reflecting on our time and the meaning that's come from being present like this.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome experience.
With that, I'm going to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And I loved every minute. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Linda. I think I'm going to go too. And may I leave you with this little thought. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you on your way. Thank you for being present. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
That was such a lovely thought.
Bye-bye.
See you all soon.
Yeah. Oh, good.